Hello and welcome to GreenFleet Talks. My name is Kate Armitage and I'm hosting our discussion today. We've got something a little bit different for you, and I'm delighted to be joined by Jonathan Jenkins, who is Head of Innovation at Motability. Hi, Jonathan.
Hello, Kate. That's the first time I've been introduced as something a little bit different, so thanks for having me on.
Different theme. Yeah, I mean, we've not spoken before, Jonathan.
Yeah.
So I think this is an emerging topic, and it's great that it's on GreenFleet Talk. So I'm really looking forward to the discussion.
Brilliant. Well, thank you for having me, Kate.
Jonathan, let's start with. Can you tell me a little bit more about Motability operations and the work that they're doing and your customers and your role in that?
Yeah, sure. So Motability Operations is the organization that delivers the Motability scheme to, believe it or not, more than 800,000 disabled people across the UK. We typically register around 1 in 6 cars in the UK every month. So 1 in 6 new cars that come into the UK would be a vehicle we would register on our scheme directly for our customers. We provide this all-in package, if you like, so servicing, breakdown, insurance. And what we're trying to ensure for our customers is that all they really need to do is add fuel. We try and provide a very, very high level of customer service. I know a lot of businesses say that, but our focus has and always will be on how we can provide our customers with the best and most cost-effective way of getting around. And so, we want to make sure that if a customer breaks down, they are being prioritized. If a customer needs a service, they are getting it when they need to get it, and it's all covered. So there's fewer concerns, I guess. We try to mitigate the concerns of owning and operating a vehicle, which can be a bit of a pain, let's be honest, whether it's an ICE, an EV, whatever it is. So, and I'm John. I lead innovation. So, what does that mean? Was probably the first question I asked when I took the job, and really it's about how we can, in a changing world, redefine the products and services that we can offer to our customers. Moving across to electric vehicles is a huge transition, and there's a lot of change. And there's actually a big change in how you drive your vehicle, how you refuel your vehicle, charge your vehicle. There's much more of a requirement on using digital products to be able to find charge points, to be able to manage your vehicle, really, to preheat it if on a cold morning. So my job is really how do we almost redefine the products and services to a degree that we have on the scheme to make sure that the scheme works as well for our electric vehicle customers as it has done for our previous ICE customers.
So much to unpack there, Jonathan, and not enough time. But
No,
I'm going to start at the end. You mentioned preconditioning. I mean, come on. So if you're talking about a group of customers who have very distinct needs, and you want to make sure that they have the same service that they've previously enjoyed with ICE, I think the answer should be it can be a better service.
Oh, I completely agree.
I think there are so many opportunities.
I am a massive advocate of that, Kate. And I think when you start to unpack all of the benefits that come with an electric vehicle, you can do most of your driving with a single pedal. They're all automatic. There's more space inside.
Yep.
Certainly for a lot of our customers, I can imagine going out on a cold morning and having to de-ice your vehicle and sit in a very cold. I mean, this morning, beautiful morning, but it was quite cold, and certainly for the, for ICE customers, the first 10, 15 minutes could have been quite uncomfortable. Whereas for an electric vehicle customer, it's one of those smug mornings where you can walk into your car and it's all warm and de-iced. So I certainly agree with you that actually there is going to be more joy in driving and in owning a vehicle than we've had previously. There's just a few barriers that we need to get across, I think, before people can really start to see that and enjoy it. And certainly, what you do see is customers that have been able to enjoy and experience EV ownership tend to stay there and tend to,
Oh, yeah.
But it's almost getting across that barrier can be sometimes the challenge.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. And 800,000 vehicles on your fleet, 70,000 electric vehicles. Did I get that? Yeah. I mean, that is first of all, congratulations, because that's a great achievement. The size of the fleet is absolutely significant. And I was all in my head, this little voice was going, ZEV mandate, because actually you've got a big enough customer base to kind of almost make the difference between hitting that target and not. If you can switch more of your customers across. So there's a lot of skin in the game here for you. No pressure.
No, and I guess, look, as I said, the first and foremost focus for us is on our customer. It's not, yes, we see the benefits of EV, certainly from a kind of broader environmental sustainable perspective. But we are here to deliver our customers with the motoring they need for their specific requirements. And for some, that will today be an ICE vehicle. For some, it'll be an electric vehicle. For some, it'll be something in the middle, a hybrid vehicle. And so that's where we start. We want to give our customers a broad choice across different drive chains to allow them to choose the vehicle that meets their needs. But you're absolutely right. 800,000 is the biggest fleet in the UK. I think it's the biggest fleet in Europe. 70,000 is certainly the biggest electric fleet in the UK. But we are maybe one of these names that nobody necessarily directly relates to having a large fleet. And part of the reason that we want to have these conversations is to make industry aware that we are a big player. And that's not for ego. That's to allow industry to come and work with us, and I mean all of industry here, to be able to overcome the barriers that our customers are seeing today into moving into electric vehicles.
Yeah, and you have real influence, but you've touched on it. You touched on it just then, Jonathan. I mean, I'm 100% sold on electric vehicles, and as much as I hate to consider that there might be problems, you did mention that there are some barriers for your Motability scheme customers when it comes to electric vehicles. So could you articulate that for me, please?
Of course, and I think a lot of them are pretty well trailed in industry. We know that 62% of our customers still have range anxiety, or they would say that the range of an EV isn't suitable for their needs. Now we're putting cars on that are 350-mile plus onto the scheme, and so we're starting to see the range of electric vehicles becoming much more sizable. Range anxiety is one of them. Cost is another. So 42% of our customers have household incomes of less than £30,000, and many of those, 2/3 in fact, say that the upfront and running costs of an electric vehicle is putting them off. We also then, one of the things I find quite remarkable in the industry is this sort of sentiment and the industry noise, and we call it fear, uncertainty, and doubt that comes from all sorts of areas within the things we digest on a day-to-day basis. And so, you do start to see 60%, again, 2/3 of our customers say they probably will definitely not get an electric vehicle. Now, they might not have tried one, and they might not have researched it. Some will have and say that's not right for them, but some won't have. And so you do have this sort of sentiment piece as well, I think, that's playing a role. And then we come on to charging, and charging for me is the big one, really. I think it's the material difference, and I think it's maybe one of the things that really does start to put people off. Now, I'm a big fan of the charging infrastructure that we have in place, but 70% of our customers are not confident. Now, some, I'll say, maybe haven't fully tried it, but there are others that have, and I've spoken to them, and they are citing big challenges around the accessibility of the infrastructure. I've already mentioned that there's a large group of people that have quite low household incomes, so the cost of charging on the infrastructure is also expensive. So when you layer in accessibility and cost, it becomes quite a big concern for our customers, and that's something we really want to collaborate with industry to overcome. I think one of the other things I'd probably raise here is this is not a question for us of if, this is a question of when. So I mentioned earlier, we provide vehicles from a broad range of OEMs. Now, the reality is the OEMs have changed their direction of travel. the mainstream OEMs are now all moving into electric vehicles. That's who we buy directly from for our customers. And so by the time we get to probably 2028, if I'm being honest with you, maybe 2029, the number of vehicles we will have available, ICE vehicles we'll have available, will be quite small, and it will be all around electric vehicles. So really, you add all those things together, and what I'm trying to say is our EV users are reflecting a really broad demographic of the UK driving public. The challenges the UK driving public will face, probably not for another maybe 5-7 years in some cases, but it really, our transition is offering more than a glimpse, a real world experience of the barriers that the country will face when it comes to mass electrification. And so what I'm trying to say to partners, to industry, is if we can solve it for our customers, then we'll solve it for the country. And that's really the big thing for me.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very big, it's a very big ambition, Jonathan, and I absolutely get where you're coming from, because you're not in the position of being able to cherry pick your customers. They come to you because they have certain needs and certain diverse needs. And I can see, certainly you were talking about the FUD, there's fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Possibly, not a group of people who see themselves at the forefront of innovation as a whole. And cost, of course, is a challenge. We are going to see the more affordable electric vehicles coming to market. Your view on the timescales for this, that 2028, you feel will start to become a significant. I absolutely get that. So the more we can prepare your customers for what's coming, the better. Can
I just pick up on one thing you just said there? Sorry.
Yeah.
So the interesting thing really is I think it's quite a normal thing to, or normal misconception to say maybe your customers are not kind of at the front end of innovation. If you do actually look at some different kind of disability surveys, actually where innovation, advancements in technology assist people with their day-to-day, you find the salespeople are actually further ahead. So 4 in 10 people in the UK, this is about a year old, this stats, it might change. 4 in 10 people in the UK have a smart speaker. 7 in 10 disabled people have a smart speaker, because they know it can support them. So actually, if we can demonstrate that these vehicles actually can provide you with, as you said at the start, more joy in your motoring, an easier way of motoring, then I fully believe our customers will want to engage. The challenge we have at the moment is we're working off the back of an infrastructure that's not always being made as accessible as it can be. And that then drives this negative sentiment and drives some of the fear, some of the uncertainty, some of the doubt that our customers are seeing.
Yeah, I stand corrected, Jonathan.
Sorry, I just love that stat. I love that.
No. That is absolutely spot on, a fair point. Because you're right. If they can see value in that innovation, if it's going to improve the quality of their lives, then of course they'll move. So it's just getting that message across, isn't it? So in what ways today would you say you're supporting your mobility scheme customers on the switch to electric?
Yeah, so I mean we've done a lot. We've ring-fenced £350 million to support the cost of electric vehicles on the scheme. We've installed 50,000 chargers into people's homes. We provide them with a roaming product, which we call our Go Charge product, that's being used with the power network, so enabled by power, that allows us to give our customers access to charging, and not only access to charging, but actually removes those quite pesky pre-authorizations, which we had lots of experience before this product came out with our customers, because sometimes it took a little bit longer for them to be able to initiate the charge. We're being hit with pre-authorizations 3, 4, 5 times. We know sometimes they're away from our bank account for 4 or 5 days, and for some people that's quite impactful to your monthly cash flow, and you might find that you're waiting to do your weekly shop because you've got a pre-authorization that's not come back, and so being able to provide them with something that avoids those pre-authorizations, and hopefully over time starts to allow us to deliver discounts to our customers, I think is quite a big perk. And we've certainly seen a lot of positive response from our customers on that Go Charge product, which we've scaled out to our full customer base. We're working with organizations like Cenex. We're part of the Nevis platform, where we're using our customer density data to inform public charging infrastructure. So when organizations are going to the local authorities and say, bidding for rollout, they can see where our customers are based, and they can start to use that data to be able to aid, if you like, their bids for infrastructure rollout. We're working with Appiway and the National Parking Platform to be able to provide our customers with visibility of not only where charges are, but also where there's a disabled parking availability, and people can hopefully book, pay for that parking through kind of a one-stop shop. We work with organizations like ChargeTrip, so almost trying to share with our customers how much they will be able to get. I mean, it's quite surprising, isn't it, when you get an electric vehicle, you go do 250 miles, but then when you break out what 250 miles is, if you're only going around local trips in a week, that's a long way, 250 miles, and particularly on local trips. So it's giving that real world data to allow customers to input almost their driver behavior and see how much they could get out of their car. And then soon we'll be launching a tool that I'm very, very excited about, and it's a kind of a massive passion of mine that we hope will help customers to overcome barriers such as charge point accessibility. And crucially, when they're thinking about the journeys they're making, they're able to map to charge points that meet their needs, both from hopefully an accessibility perspective, because let's be honest, everyone has different needs. You're never going to have something that meets everyone's needs. And so if you can choose something that works for you, and that applies to a whole host of people. It applies. I have 2 young children. I don't want to go to a charge point where I'm not going to be able to get them out of the back because the space is too small. We're going to be blocking, and that has happened. Having that kind of extra layer of information in a really easy to use, easy to digest format will hopefully remove some of those levels of anxiety.
I mean that. All great stuff, and actually relevant not just to the Motability scheme. It's so this is adding value to the whole ecosystem, because you're addressing challenges that we all have. No one likes the pre-authorization. No one likes turning up to a charge point and being in a comms dead spot where where your phone doesn't work. And I certainly don't want to go to a charge point where there's no toilet. I know, which has happened to me, and it's like, no, I've got to sit here for 40 minutes and then I've got to go somewhere to find a toilet. It's like, no, how did this happen? So there's absolutely loads there, Jonathan, and all really exciting stuff. So it sounds like you're well on the journey, and it's
we're absolutely well on the journey, I think, but we're on the journey, right? We haven't reached that end game yet, and I think, as you said, there's so much more we can unpack. We're still at the moment looking at maybe how we overcome pain points. I'm really looking forward to being able to say, we've done a great job of that, and our customers are telling us, we feel you're overcoming those pain points. So now looking at, well, let's explore some of the joys and some of the real beneficial things you can get out of this, whether it's energy flexibility services, for example, in the future, where we can start using our car to lower our monthly cost, the battery in our car to lower the monthly cost that we see on our energy pricing. So there's lots of opportunity, I think, that's going to start to come out as the industry grows, maybe becomes a little less fragmented, and a bit more standardized. And maybe we can talk about central government, I don't know, but how we standardize some of those things, I think, will be crucial in the EV transition. We could almost do them happening yesterday, but they will happen, I'm confident. And that's where we can really start to unpack some of the huge benefits we'll start to see coming through, I think, in the electric vehicle space.
Yeah, great. And Jonathan, you threw the invitation out there. If you had one or two big asks of the government, of the new Labour government, or of industry regarding the barriers for Motability scheme customers and the wider community of disabled drivers when it comes to EVs, what would it be?
I think the first one I'd look at is the kind of the charging infrastructure. So we have a PAS 1899 standard in place that hasn't been mandated. I understand the challenges the CPOs are going through. I work really closely with them. I think they're doing a fantastic job. I understand lots of the sites are leased. There's limited space, etc. And so almost what we need is an approach from government, from industry, from thought leaders like the Motability Foundation to be able to say, how do we mandate an approach here that works for everyone, rather than the position we're in at the moment, frankly, is if I provide a site that's not accessible, I would be able to undercut a proposition that is more accessible, if that makes sense. So somebody could put in a bid for an accessible site that has 6 bays in, and you could see somebody else coming in with a site that's got 10 bays in because they're narrower. And that can then undercut the kind of costs, if you like, or the proposition that accessible bay has put in. So it's how do we overcome some of those challenges? As I say, lots of the sites are leased, space is limited, etc. And we almost need an approach collaborative approach from government, from industry, and from the experts in this space, like the Motability Foundation, to be able to say, let's align and get this right. I think one of the other things I mentioned, the fragmented industry. I mean, I've got an interesting anecdote. We spoke to the Blue Badge scheme yesterday. They're part of the kind of DFT's oversight of Blue Badge, and if they're trying to improve some of their digital products, they're doing some great stuff, trying to improve digital products. For them to get something approved, something quite small, they have to get approval from 208 local authorities. Now, when you get into that space, actually, it's madness. Now, that's an example, but it speaks to a wider point of drivers don't necessarily care. They might care when they get their bins collected, but they don't care which local authority they're in. Your experience of a driver is not which local authority you're driving through. It's you just want to have a seamless experience from one local authority to the next. We work across a nation of drivers, Motability. We're in every corner of the UK. Now, in order for us to be able to standardize things like cross-pavement solutions, is a good example, we have to speak to 208 different local authorities. It's a massive challenge for our customers. We have well over 100,000 customers living in terraced houses. We know we have 30% of customers haven't got hot street parking. Over half, we think, maybe will struggle to get a charge point installed. And we can come up with solutions, but while we're working in a fragmented space, it means you have to come up with solutions and then federate them out to over 200 different stakeholders, which is what slows things down, really. And so how can we standardize those processes to make sure that we're able to get really quick access to improving the things that will make a big difference for not just our customers, but for the broader EV drivers. There's a whole host of things we can go into around data standards as well, that I'd like to see the kind of momentum continue on those. But really, if I was going to pick 2 big ones, it'd be those 2.
Yeah, and fair play. I think they are big ticket items, Jonathan. The postcode lottery of which local authority you're in, whether or not you've got enough on-street charging infrastructure, is crazy. And it's in some respects it's really frustrating because this is a new industry and we're being held back by a regulatory and an authority-led system that is not moving quick enough for the industry.
Take it from me, Kate, as an individual that lives in a terraced house in Bristol with an EV, with no opportunity to have a home charger. It's incredibly frustrating. And I understand the reasons why. I understand why councils and highways are taking different approaches. But I think we need to come together and agree what is a standard approach here. And once we know what the standard approach is, whether it is with cross-pavement solutions or not, then we can work towards that. Yeah. And that's really what I think we need.
On that note, Jonathan, that we're going to wrap it up. Thank you very much for your insight. Great conversation. Plenty of food for thought for me. And thank you. I'm here to ask the stupid questions, and it looks like I did.
Stupid at all.
It has been a pleasure talking to you, and thank you, of course, to Motability for joining GreenFleet Talks.
No, thank you, Kate. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. That is about all we've got time for. Thank you for watching. Please tune into GF365 again soon.